Welcome to Kilroy's on Kirkwood for a live show of the Rock Report, the player's perspective. Huge thank you to Hoosiers Connect for having us today. Thank you to KMK for hosting. Really excited to be here, talk some Indiana football, interview a couple guests, some fan interaction. So as we talk about the collective, big day coming up, Tuesday, November 12th, in for Indiana Day, the biggest day of giving for Hoosiers Connect and Hoosiers for Good, the official NIL collective of Indiana Athletics. Every dollar counts for this, guys. In order for Signetti, Coach Woodson, and Terry Moore, and all the other athletics teams to build these incredible rosters. You know, we've got 4 teams last week ranked in the top 25 inside of our athletic department. None of this happens without NIL. And, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, when NIL bylaws were passed by the NCAA, Scott Dolson, Matty White, the rest of the athletic department promised Indiana athletics that we would have a prominent NIL collective. And Hoosiers for Good and Hoosiers Connect have created just an absolute powerhouse that has allowed these coaches to build nationally acclaimed rosters. This football program is blown up, and it's all thanks to the donors, and thank you to everyone that is contributing to essentially build up Indiana athletics and make it what it is today.
Yeah, and NIL is going to be a huge part of college football and college sports going on around the country for years to come. But a really big thing is that it helps teams, it helps at campus, everything. So if you go to Aim for Indiana, that's INFORIndiana.com. That's where you can donate to the NIL collective, and any dollar counts. They have $10. They're coming to have some great packages for donors. Whoever wants to donate to that collective, Hoosier Connect, feel free, and you can do that.
It kind of, as this team continues to grow, and as we begin to compete, we're talking about bowl games and playoffs and the implications of NIL, all these things. Kirk Signetti's football team continues to hang around solely because they built something great here, kind of together with the collective and together with the athletic department. That's kind of my own personal story that I want to share. About a year ago, I partnered with Tyler Harris and Hoosiers for Good to do a grocery giveaway at Healing Hands, an organization that is teamed up with City Church here in town. And just being able to, as an athlete, use my platform to give back to the community, you know, while also giving back to just all the folks that attend these games and you know, use their hard-earned money to come see the Indiana Hoosiers play. It's very rewarding, and the opportunities that Hoosiers Connect has provided for the Indiana athletes is really second to none, and that's why you see people gravitating to Indiana as recruits, because they know that this collective is a just massive draw for them.
And we're here pregame at Kilroy's on Kirkwood. We have a huge matchup today in Bloomington. The number 8 Indiana Hoosiers are 9-0. They're 14-point favorite at home versus the reigning national champions, Michigan. Michigan's 0-2 on the road this season, but Michigan has won 28 of the last 29 meetings, and that's a lot of wins for Michigan. But we're going to change that around today in Bloomington. So let's kind of dive into the Michigan game. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, as mentioned this morning on College Game Day, this is the first time since statistics were kept track of that Indiana is favored against the Michigan Wolverines. I mean, this is just massive for this program. And as we look, both teams have brand new head coaches. Jerome Moore was, you know, at Michigan last year, was interim head coach for Jim Harbaugh while he had some suspension issues going on. But Kirk Signetti is just coming to this program and absolutely blowing it up. You know, kind of a thing of the past nowadays that we've heard Signetti talk about is building up a program over multiple years. It's just not the way that, you know, players want to be around programs like that anymore. Players want to win now, and Kirk Signetti has a blueprint that clearly works. And I think he's really setting a precedent that is going to cause problems for other head coaches. Athletic departments are going to see what Indiana and Kirk Signetti has done and built up this program absolutely immediately, and expect their coaches to do it as well. So the 4-year program rebuilds of the past are no longer a thing because of the precedent that Kirk Signetti has set.
And Kirk Signetti, I mean, he has that blueprint. He said, Google him, you'll see he just wins. But we talk about both new first-year head coaches. Both teams have new quarterbacks. Indiana has Curtis Rourke, who's arguably one of the top quarterbacks in the country. He's got 19 touchdowns with his arms, 3 interceptions, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. And quite frankly, we have so many names in the Michigan roster. They started the season with Davis Warren, then moved to Alex Orji, then for IU quarterback Jack Tuttle, and now back to Davis Warren. But if you look at the statistics, I mean, with that quarterback battle that they've been going on, they just don't know who to play. Orji has 3 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown and 1 interception. So he's still playing a little in those circumstances where they want to run the ball. But Davis Warren is the starter. He's got 5 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He hasn't been very productive, especially a team with so much talent. But those new quarterbacks are definitely going to have a big role in this game. I'm looking forward to see what Davis Warren does in the road, being 0-2, how the Michigan responds, because they do have depth on that team. They do have talent. They have a lot of NFL draft picks, and we're going to get into that real soon. But that's just one of the big matchups we should look for. The next matchup we also need to look for is Colston Loveson versus our linebackers. That's a draft pick. Everyone knows the name. Colston Loveland is going to be a first-round tight end, probably the first tight end taken off the board. And we have Aiden Fisher, Isaiah Jones, Elijah Hardy, and Jalen Walker are our linebackers at Indiana. And it's going to be a tough matchup for them all day trying to cover him. He has 523 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season, but he does a lot more than just catch the ball. You're going to have to kind of scheme your defense to him. He's the best player. He's all around the field, blocking, catching, in the end zone, but it's going to be a great matchup to look for.
Yeah, I mean, a big thing I'm looking to see today from our linebacker core is how do you guard Loveland? Loveland obviously is kind of a dual threat guy that he can block and run routes very well, and you've seen a bit of a problem for teams early on. The hard part is Michigan right now with Warren and Orji, a lot of times when they have Orji in the game, it's essentially a wildcat set, so where you know he's going to run the ball, but when they throw Warren in the game, if Colston Loveland is really his only prolific target on the field, I really don't think that Aiden Fisher's going to have a problem. And Isaiah Jones, kind of getting out in the flat, making sure that we take away their biggest guy, biggest threat. I really am excited to see the way the IU defense, comes at this Michigan team today. I really think it's going to be a big game from the D-line as well.
Yeah, and kind of moving into those trenches, we talked about the quarterback, we talked about that receiver matchup with tight end Colston Loveland. I mean, Michigan, they're big up front on defense. They have 2 first-round draft picks, Kenneth Grant, number 78, and Mason Graham, number 55. On the season, they've combined for 3.5 sacks and 12.5 tackles for loss. But when you look at their defense, 2 first-round picks, you have to look at our interior offensive line. We have to talk about Mike Kadick, Bray Lynch, Drew Evans, Tyler Stevens. Those are that 4 guys. Tyler Stevens been rotating in there. Those 4 guys in that interior offensive line versus the Michigan front. Those 2 guys, Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant. That's something we're going to really have to keep an eye on this game.
Yeah, I really think Michigan's going to scheme up fairly well from the defensive line side of the football. I think IU's O-line has obviously shown that, under a Bob Bostad direction, they've been amazing so far this year. And I really don't think they'll falter by any means this game. But IU's had a lot of success this year by establishing the run game early on and kind of having a run game weapon. Michigan obviously is going to try and take that away with, 2 pretty much guaranteed first-round draft picks on their D-line. I'll be excited to see, what happens in the run game today. What does IU play? What do the sets look like? Are we in 12 personnel? Are they running 11, 10? I'm really excited to see the way that, Shanahan sends different matchups, uses guys in motion, a bunch of different bunch sets, just to essentially throw off some great defensive players for Michigan.
Yeah, and Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, they go by the nickname of Peanut Butter and Jelly. But Mike Kadick and co, they're going to eat that for lunch today. So let's kind of move over to the wide receivers. We're going to talk a little bit about Waffle House. Elijah Surratt, who named himself Waffle House because he's open 24/7. First, the Michigan DBs. We know they're going to be out Will Johnson, who is a surefire top 5 pick, but Amir Hall and Jair Hill are those 2 that are going to step in place for him. So let's talk a little bit about that matchup.
Yeah, one thing about Michigan that's really interesting is the amount of depth that they have, and this has kind of been a thing for, I'd say, the past 10 plus years since Jim Harbaugh took over there, and obviously now coming into Sharon Moore. It's a very deep football team. So with Will Johnson being out, obviously Indiana's receivers are going to thrive a little bit, but the younger guys that haven't played a ton are still very, very talented. And I think one thing that's helped this Indiana receiver core out so far this year is when you look at the stat sheet, they're not targeting one guy a bunch of times. They're spreading the ball out. They're having 6, 7 guys catch the ball, and this really allows Curtis Rourke to see the field and find a guy that he trusts almost every single time, just because every single dude in this receiver core has been just an absolute dog so far this season.
Yeah, and another draft thing we have to look for is Elijah Surratt's had 3 games of 100 yards. So talking about that, spreading the ball out is a big thing for Curtis Rourke. He gets it to everyone. So it's not like you had Will Johnson, who was that man corner who could stay on that number 1, but Indiana doesn't have a true number 1 wide receiver. Everyone can picture it being Surratt. Keyshawn Williams does a great job. Miles Price, Omar Cooper, all these players at Indiana, everyone's just throwing the ball around. Really, they're probably going to have to do a lot of zone on defense, not much man coverage. But when you kind of back it up in zone, and we can run the ball underneath.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Curtis Rourke kind of flourish today. With a thumb injury a couple weeks ago, obviously he only missed 1 game, which is great, but whatever procedure he had done was obviously done very well, because he came back last week and just tore up that Michigan State defense. Obviously they were down 10-0 in the first quarter, but then he came back and just did not stop swinging. Indiana, massive game today against the reigning national champions, sold out crowd, great weather in Bloomington. And here at Kilroy's, I mean, it's full of Michigan fans, full of Indiana fans, just a great, great atmosphere. We've got some fan interviews coming up. There's some great fan interaction games. Really, really excited to be here. Thank you to Hoosiers Connect for hosting us. Great podcast ahead of you guys today. Thank you for watching, and go Hoosiers.
Yeah, and those are kind of the key matchups that we need to look for this game to get that win for Indiana Hoosiers. We have a few fan guests, like Sean said, a few special guests on the pod, and that's kind of our matchup breakdown. So we'll take it from there.
All right, we're here with our first guest, Connor Hitchcock, co-founder and CEO of Home Field Apparel. Connor, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be on.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on the pod, Connor. So just give us a little bit kind of background about yourself. Talk a little about Home Field Apparel and kind of, I know you went to IU. Yeah. It's a big kind of product. The fan base loves Home Field Apparel, especially with the new kind of 9-win Indiana, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Give us a little background about that.
Yeah, so I co-founded the predecessor to Home Field when I was a student at IU. So back in 2014, it was called Hoosier Proud. The state of Indiana themed apparel. I was actually printing it out of my apartment on the west side of town, right across from Smoky Jack's. And my final year of school was the Pinstripe Bowl year. Huge IU football fan. So I got super into the team, the Chaos team. They line up for that field goal against Duke. It's called no good. It looks like it's good. Going into the following season, so the 2016 season, I graduated full-time, was working full-time in Indy, and made a shirt that said the kick was good out of my basement in Indianapolis. And that was the first foray into IU sports stuff. It took off, was able to go get licensing from IU, and so from there, I was working full-time in e-commerce, was printing shirts out of my basement in Broad Ripple before work, making like vintage IU shirts. And so I'm not a designer, but my wife, co-founder Krista is, so she designed all the vintage IU gear out of our basement for this side project. It did well enough to where in 2018 we left our jobs to start Home Field, and it's always been like, look, we have 200 schools now on our website, but it's always been rooted in IU football. So even Kick Was Good stuff or 9-win Indiana in 2019. Great friends with Kyle Robbins, Chris Schutte, formerly of Crimson Quarry. I'm actually heading over to the tailgate with them right after this. But they coined this 9-win Indiana phrase one night when we had like 6 or 7 beers, Saturdays to be very specific, in the summer of 2019. Predicting that Indiana was going to win 9 games, the team that you were on, John. And so it came obviously very close in Jacksonville. But we made these shirts. Back then we printed out 500 of them, and they were selling like crazy to them when Tennessee stole that game. We had so many left over. But we finally, just now after they won 9 games this year, cleared out of all of them. So it's, again, we have 200 schools on our website. We sell on over 100 different college campuses and stores, but IU's still our #1 school.
And you started with that licensing with Indiana University. Did you ever picture how big Home Field would be with over 200 schools? Did you have this idea in your head already?
So that's what Chris and I wanted. Just whether it was going to happen, it's a big dream. And so, you got to shoot for it, you got to go for it. But it has been beyond our wildest dreams. It's a ton of fun. I mean, even today, I'm here in Bloomington with you guys, but we have a team out in Atlanta doing a Georgia Tech event, and Big Boy and Outcast wearing our stuff on stage today, right? So it's pretty great stuff. Fun to just do this for a living.
a pretty awesome story
So
there.
a big thing we've kind of heard and seen throughout this town is the kind of economic impact that a team winning 9 football games has had on a local community and local business. Kind of talk about how a team going 9-0 and potentially 10-0 today, how does that impact a small business like yours?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, we've leaned really hard into IU always, but particularly when they're good at football. So we made 2 weeks ago, after game day, we made a version of that Corso sweater. It's been our best-selling launch we've ever done, was the Corso sweater. Our IU sales this football season are 525% up year on year since August 1st. It's been crazy. So yeah, massive impact to us.
Yeah, and so would you say, like, obviously you have the 9-win Indiana shirt, but what is kind of your biggest product you have? Indiana football specific.
Yeah, funny enough, it's the first shirt we ever launched. Our best selling of all time is we were the first brand to bring the IU Bison back. So we brought that back in 2018. First people to put it on apparel. Still to this day, our IU Bison shirt on the whole website is our best selling item of all time.
Yeah, I really would have thought that the 9-win Indiana shirt would be that best selling. But it's something so specific to this season.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad home field's kind of been blown up and the fans love it. It's just you make awesome quality stuff, great design. Just big credit to you and your team.
Appreciate it, man. It's a blast we get through this for a living. So.
Okay, so last thing we got for you here. 9-0 Indiana today, taking on the reigning national champion Michigan Wolverines. What's your prediction?
I think we win 45-24, and I think that 24 is the result of a garbage time touchdown for sure by Michigan. So that really is more spiritually 45-17.
We appreciate you coming on. Good luck to you. I hope your business continues to grow as this team continues to grow. We'll be right back with some fan interaction, t-shirt giveaways. Thank you guys for watching. All right, we're here with Shane doing some IU football history trivia. Shane, thank you for coming on. You ready to go?
I'm ready to jump in.
All right, start the timer. Question number 1. Last IU football Michigan win?
2-20.
Correct.
Where was Coach Sick last year?
JMU.
Correct.
Who's Indiana's starting center?
Mike Caddick.
Kinnick.
There you go.
My bad. Did you see this? My bad.
Which Hoosier quarterback transferred to Michigan?
Jack Tuttle.
Which current Seahawk played at IU and Michigan?
Wow, it's good.
AJ Barner.
My bad.
How many banners are hanging in Assembly Hall?
Come on.
Former Hoosier on the Golden State Warriors.
TJD. Let's go.
What is official mixed beverage of KOK?
Waterlog.
There you go. Who's the rock named after?
The Rock. Oh, that's Rock.
There you go.
Come on.
And our last question, what is the name of IU's NIL collective?
Hoosiers Connect. I'm in for Indiana. Let's go. Right here. Yeah.
All right, we appreciate you coming on. Great job. Go Hoosiers.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
We're here with former Indiana kicker Nate Snyder. Made famous in his career for the Pat McAfee scholarship announcement. Nate, appreciate you coming on. How you doing?
Happy to be here. Couldn't be better. 9-0 Hoosiers, baby.
All right, so we're going to rip some game day predictions here. Some big games across the college football schedule today. A lot of playoff implications on the line. Let's start with game number 1, Nate. Purdue versus number 2, Ohio State.
Got to make it harder than that. Give me Ohio State.
Rick?
I got Ohio State easy in that one.
Yeah, I'm taking Ohio State. I think Ryan Day's team is pretty strong this year. Obviously, a huge matchup coming up here in a couple weeks against the Hoosiers. Game number 2, we got in-state Notre Dame hosting Florida State.
I got to think about this. Is Florida State better than NIU? That's what we got. That's what we got to think about here. Yeah, give me Notre Dame. Let's go. Florida State struggling this year. Notre Dame.
Ricky, who do you got?
Yeah, I know Florida State is struggling, but that team is going to turn it around sometime this season. It's going to have to happen. I got FSU in that one over Notre Dame.
Yeah, Florida State, Mike Norvell team going downhill a little bit this year. Obviously a tough loss. Former Indiana Hoosier Jalen Lucas getting hurt earlier in the season. I've got to go Notre Dame here. Go across the country a little bit here to number 20 Colorado versus Texas Tech. Obviously, Deion's team's rolling pretty well this year compared to past years. Nate, who do you got?
This could go either way. I'm going to say Colorado because of the talent. I think talent's going to let them pull through here, so give me Colorado.
Yeah, and I know Texas Tech, they do a thing that they throw tortillas when they're scoring touchdowns. But I'm going to get back to Bird, and I know Colorado's going to win that one in Texas Tech. That is a fake noon kickoff today, but that's going to be a great game out in Colorado.
You know, I think Travis Hunter's making a big case this year to win the Heisman. I'm going with Colorado, Shador.
Let's go.
All right, big game today. Host of College Game Day. We've got number 11 Alabama at number 15 LSU. Big Nick Saban matchup. Coached at both places. Nate, who do you got?
I'm going to take Alabama. I think at halftime it's going to be tied up. Alabama's going to push through with that balloon effect in the second half, pull it through. I think they can lock up Kyron Lacey on LSU. Not going to be a problem there. Give me Alabama by 10. I'll give you points on this.
There you go, and it's a game at LSU. Very hard to play in Death Valley. I think Alabama is going to have a little downfall in this game, and I'll take LSU in that game.
You know, I really think this is the game where Kalen DeBoer makes a name for himself in the SEC. I think he's a great coach. We've got a lot of former IU coaches on that coaching staff. I've got to take Alabama here. I really don't think Brian Kelly can hang with the Kalen DeBoer offense. Moving on to our matchup today, we've got number 8 Indiana hosting the reigning national champion Michigan Wolverines. Huge game for the Indiana Hoosiers as they look to go 10-0. Nate, who's your pick? Let's get a score on this one too.
Give me Indiana, obviously. Come on, baby. 10-0. And let's say Indiana. I like them high 40s, low 50s. I think the offense is fired all cylinders. Give me 52-24. Let's go. Indiana.
We've been saying this all year. Good offenses, they score 7 touchdowns, 42 points, 49 points there. I think Indiana's going to put up 50 on Michigan, win big in this one. I got Indiana versus Michigan.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Indiana is just absolutely prolific this year in the run game. Michigan obviously has a very strong defensive line, but I think we established the run early. We're scoring a lot of points before half. I'm going 42-17 Indiana. I think this Michigan team has really no fight left in them after what's happened so far this season. Nate, we really appreciate you coming on. Obviously, great to see you. Great to see everyone back in Bloomington. A great day here at Kilroy's on Kirkwood, promoting Hoosiers Connect and In for Indiana Day. Thank you for coming on. Have a great day. Enjoy the game.
Thanks for having me, too. Go Hoosiers.
In-stadium host Griffin Gonzalez. Griffin, thank you for coming on today.
Fellas, good to be here. Happy game day. We're here.
Happy game day. Big one today is the Hoosiers take on the Michigan Wolverines. We're kind of talking about, you're the hype guy around the stadium. How'd you get your start into media and in essentially hosting for the Indiana football team?
Yeah, it's started right here. I grew up coming to IU games my entire life. I remember watching the MC when I was a kid, and I wanted to go into media and sports media specifically because I wanted to be close to this Indiana athletics action, whether it's basketball or football. I always wanted to be closer to the action than I was in just my family's seats. So that's kind of what really started my life and my love for covering sports. It's obviously gone all over now. As for the MC stuff, that kind of happened on accident. When I was a freshman at IU, Steve Aird at volleyball was looking for an MC. So I submitted my application, submitted a reel, and they were like, we don't think we're going to do this for volleyball, but women's basketball needs one. I was like, shoot, man, that's pretty solid as well. I'll take that. It's a solid promotion there. And then eventually football decided they wanted to bring one back because they were kind of evolving to give the atmosphere in the past couple of years. And it's been a blast.
So we're talking about IU having, world-renowned media school.
Yep.
I just kind of want to hear your version, your story of what kind of grew through their programs and kind of what role they had in you ending up as the in-stadium host for the Indiana football team.
I put it in terms like, let's think about college football, right? You have the Alabamas, the LSUs, the traditional Notre Dame, traditional powerhouses, right? IU was never that, always had a good program, was kind of like, always flirting, but never was top 25, but never top 10. Then they got the new media school, they pumped a ton of money into it around 2016, and all of a sudden, you had a school with the facilities of a Notre Dame football, but the talent of a Rutgers or didn't have the talent to come in and embrace it. And so over the past 10 years, the media school has done such a good job of getting kids who weren't just going to work in class, but we're going to work in the hours outside of class and really fall in love with reading. And that is just taking the program to a new level. What I've loved about it is the way Galen Clavio and the rest of the media school staff has set it up. They've made it so if you want to come spend 100 hours a week in there, you can. And you're going to get a great degree and a great job. If you want to spend maybe 2 hours a week in there, you can do that, still end up on a great platform. So it's really choose your pace, do what you want. I have a lot of regrets in my life. Going to IU and going to the media school is not one of them. It's the best decision I've ever made. And I hear about it all the time. People who are graduating from IU from the media school are more prepared than any other students across the country to go into the real world life of media. They know how to handle photos, video, podcasts, anything. And these guys are doing that because it's how the media school runs.
Yeah, so Griffin, you grew up around Indiana,
Yeah.
Indiana football, you went to the media school, all this stuff. What really excites you about this kind of 2024 Indiana football team?
I think what excites me is it's genuine. That's what I keep telling people. It's not like this is like all bandwagon fans hopping on. I think when you see a sold-out Memorial Stadium, it's 60,000 people who've been waiting for this, who have come to IU games. Maybe some weekends they couldn't make it because their kids have sports or travel soccer, but now it's a priority for them because they're like, no, I've waited. I use my grandpa's example. He's had season tickets in Memorial Stadium for 55 years. Did not know if he was going to do it much longer. He's 92. Games are hard. This season, he says it makes it all worth it because it's that much of a wait. And I think what's so cool about it is you're watching it. It's not a fluke. You're watching this team. You're like, they're not just winning games because they're getting lucky in the fourth quarter. This is a genuine top 5 college football team in Bloomington. This is a genuine, great, you-know-what football team. But it's all because of what Signetti's been doing. And I think when you look at that, when you factor that all in, that's what makes it so great. That's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it fun. And I think this season in particular, I was bringing the hype last year when that team was 3-9. I still had fun. But I think when you have the winning too and you're beating the teams that Indiana's beating, it just adds a different atmosphere. For these, I'm happiest for not just the team, the athletics department who puts 12 hours of work in all Saturday to make sure the fans have a great experience, and they've been doing that. But the team was 1-11. I'm happy for them because they put in a lot of work. I'm happy for everyone who works at Hoosiers Connect for the work they get and bringing talent to here and keeping talent in Bloomington. But I'm happiest for the fan base who gets to sit here and soak in this moment, and we all get to enjoy it together. This happens once in a lifetime. Hopefully after this year, it was an expectation, right? They show the fact that it's not an expectation yet. We all get to sit around and enjoy it and get excited with it. That's the best part.
Yeah, so kind of with that statement of being a top 5 team, we face Michigan today, reigning national championships.
Yep.
Give us kind of your game day prediction for that.
Yeah, I think Will Johnson's out for Michigan. That's a huge thing because that just opens up the Waffle House. It's always open, but we're going to extend those hours to 25 hours a day today. Listen, this is one of those games that I don't care if Michigan is 1-11. It's still Michigan, right? They still got a heck ton of athletes out there. They got guys who are going to run to the ball. They're going to execute. They got NFL first-round draft picks down on this team, even when they're terrible. You can't walk through it. But what I like about this is I've never seen a Signetti team walk through anything. So, I thought Michigan State, like first quarter last week, you're like, oh man, they look slow. How do they respond? They wake up, they get going, they fire out. I think Indiana's going to come ready to play. It's going to be a sold-out rock. Towels are going to be rocking. It's going to be an awesome atmosphere, and I think these guys are going to be ready to go. I think they're going to want to make a statement. I think they're pissed about being number 8. I would be too if I were them, because they have a better resume than the reigning national champions had at this time last year. They have better stats, better everything. So I'm excited to see what they do. I think it's going to be, I hear we're doing it for Ben Hurt Street today. That's exciting. Do it for Ben. And I like the Hoosiers I like 24. Sometimes I make conservative on 14, 17. I like 24. They've proven they're worth 24 points.
Do you want to give us kind of that, I know win by 24, but what do you think your score prediction would be?
Oh, I'm gonna go IU 42-10. 42-10.
Solid prediction.
I think Michigan's offense will get a score earlier, And then I think our defense is just going to ramp them up. I think that I think what they're going to do, they're going to try to run the ball, run out some clock on us. Kamara is a dog. All right, Carpenter's a dog. They're not going to be able to run all day. What's going to happen? They're going to stop the run. They're going to go to the air, and it's going to be just free takeaways all day long for this IU defensive back.
All right, Griffin, we got a sold-out stadium today. Excited to watch this team win. Excited to watch you do your thing. We appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day to come on here. Go Hoosiers. We got some fan trivia coming up. Thank you guys for tuning in. All right, we're here with Matt for another segment of Name That Hoosier. Matt, 2 hints today. Florida native, current New York Giant linebacker.
Micah McFadden?
Yes, sir. I'm here at Kilroy's for a quick segment of Name That Hoosier. I'm here with Corey. Corey, how you doing?
Great, how you doing?
All right, so I'm going to give you 2 little facts here today, and then you're going to guess that Hoosier. So, 2018 recruiting class, current Atlanta Falcon.
I only have one name for you. The man, the myth, the legend, Michael Penix.
Thank you for tuning in to the Rockport Live, brought to you by Hoosiers Connect and the Players Perspective podcast. Just so you know that In for Indiana Day will be November 12th. Go to that website, In for Indiana, INFOR, Indiana.com. We'd like to thank Hoosiers Connect, Kilroy and Kirkwood, and everyone who kind of made this possible.
Yeah, obviously great day today. 3 awesome interviews, great fan interaction. Time to go enjoy some Hoosiers Connect vodka. Donate to In for Indiana this week. Go Hoosiers, beat Michigan.